And in so doing, in the lessons that I've learned, hopefully share a little bit of my story. And I want to start first with just the title, because this is one of the first lessons that I've learned. Notice my journey to becoming. It's not to become a plant-based physician, because if I wrote my journey to become a plant-based physician, it almost implies that I have arrived. Hurrah! You know, I've made it to the final destination, and I've made it, I'm done. And it's so far from it. I am becoming, and I'll be 80 years, 40 years from now, I'll be 81 years old, and I will still be becoming. And it really comes back to that principle that I think is so important called lifelong learning. I consider myself to be a lifelong learner. And to that end, I put up a picture of Dr. Stefan Esser, because yesterday we had a delightful chat. There's Dr. Esser in the back. I met Dr. Esser for the first time. I've been a fan from afar for a long time. We're both tennis players. I think I might be good enough to be his ball boy. It was such a treat to meet with him, and he was just having a late dinner, and we just talked for half an hour, 45 minutes. At the end of that conversation, my views on health, on diet, on just habits and behavioral change had been informed and had grown and changed. And he is now, whether he likes it or not, he is part of my journey to becoming a plant-based physician. Dr. Sabatino, who you just heard from, where's Dr. Fitzgerald? Dr. Fitzgerald, I'm looking forward to meeting him and playing some tennis with him. Each one of you, you're all part of my journey. I really do my best to try and learn from each and every one of the people that I encounter. And so I just encourage that as a first principle. Just be a lifelong learner in whatever area of your life that is important to you. Now, in the spirit of lifelong learning, I like to take risks. And so today is the first time I'm ever doing a presentation in, 9 slides, including this one. Is Barbara in the room?
I'm here.
There's Barbara. So Barbara's a board member at TCRM, and she's been sort of spoiling me and treating me very nicely these first few days. And she's also a communications specialist, and so I told Barbara, you have to give me feedback, because I may crash and burn, and I'll trust you to kind of let me know how it goes. But I've never done one in 9 slides. And the first question you may be asking is, well, why? Why not? Is this just some exercise that you're just doing for the fun of it? Well, actually, it's not. It comes back to a word that you've heard again and again and again and again this weekend. Mark just mentioned it this morning. He said that this movement is defined by profound simplicity. And that is one of I think, the major draws to this movement, is its simplicity. And this whole notion that less is oftentimes more. In fact, incorporating what Greg mentioned yesterday, or Dr. Fitzgerald, you heard of that notion of intelligent rejection. I've never heard this before, right? But I love the idea of intelligent rejection. We're all looking to add on. We sort of feel, the entire multi-billion-dollar supplement industry. That's an example. We're all looking for the holy grail in a pill, in a procedure, in some sort of quick weight loss program. But it's really not that complex. And oftentimes it involves simplifying rather than adding on. So, intelligent rejection. What have I rejected just in the last couple of days? I rejected housekeeping. And so I called the front desk on the first day. And I said, I won't be needing a housekeeper during my house cleaning during my time here. I don't need 3 towels, 1 new towel each day. I can make my own bed. So I'm not going to be getting any house cleaning services. Many of you have seen me walking around yesterday barefoot. That's my latest sort of exploration of something called grounding. And I'll be honest, I don't know that much about it, but it intrigues me. As Dr. Esser pointed out yesterday, if the intervention does not involve some big potentially harmful thing like medication, then even if the evidence is not significant, then it's not harmful to try it. I think there may be a lot of evidence, I just haven't had a chance to check it out, and it makes sense that, way back when, we did a lot more walking barefoot on the ground, in the dirt. And I'm troubled by the fact that if I go to check my mailbox and I walk outside barefoot, I'm like, and I feel like I've gotten removed from certain basics. So you'll see me after this presentation, or probably other days, walking around barefoot. And that's also part of simplicity. The whole food plant-based movement, I have yet to see summarized any better than this gentleman has done. Who's this? Michael Pollan, right? And he used 7 words, his most famous 7 words, to describe what I believe captures a whole food plant-based way of eating. Eat food, not too much, mostly plants. I keep trying to come up with something better, but I can't. I mean, each word there matters, and each word to me captures it. Eat food, real food, food that your grandmother or your great-grandmother would recognize. I like the example he uses of go-gurts, right? Go-gurts, those like yogurt-like contraptions that you squeeze in a thing, that's not real food that your grandmother would recognize. Not too much, right? Not in excess. Hello? I was going to answer it, actually. So, not too much. One of the principles of the blue zones is called harahachi. In Japanese, basically means eat until you're 80% full. We are gluttons, right? And we are used to satiety, meaning that you're sort of unbuckling your belt or unbuttoning your pants. And there's a big difference between eating until you are satiated versus eating until you are stuffed. And that's oftentimes thought of as about 20%. And that can easily be 100-200 calories. So I've had to learn that. I've definitely had to learn not to eat too much. Because you can eat too much even of a good thing, right? I bet some of you ate too much at breakfast today. Right? It's so good. But if you can slow down and just kind of listen to your body's signals, what your body's telling you. Dr. Fitzgerald did a beautiful job yesterday of just really kind of describing what it means to be in tune with what your body is telling you. So not too much. And then lastly, mostly plants. For those people who are doing exclusively 100% plants, outstanding. But I never want those people who have made this big shift from eating the standard American diet, which is 60% processed food and 30% animal protein, that if they made a significant move but haven't become exclusively, the last thing I would ever want for them to feel is like they are a failure. So mostly plants. And we know from the blue zones that that was what they did. They ate mostly plants. Many of them had small amounts of animal products, but the focus was on the fruits, the vegetables, the legumes, and the grains. That's simplicity, okay? This gentleman, anyone know who this is? Jeff Novick. I call him Yoda. Doesn't it fit? He is just this wealth of information, and even the way he talks kind of like Yoda sometimes. But his concept, what is Jeff Novick, I'm just curious, what do you think what do you most know Jeff Novick for? Research. Calorie density, right? Caloric density. Absolutely. And if you do not understand this principle inside, out, backwards, forwards, up, down, you need to. And it won't take long because it is simple. It's a very simple concept. In fact, you know what? I was going to talk on blue zones tomorrow, but we've hit so many of the principles, I may actually dive more into caloric density. That is how important I feel it is. So I will say that one of the big draws as I have gone along this journey is the power of simplicity. And I chose to focus on food, but we could talk about simplicity with regard to exercise, simplicity with regard to sleep. So if you find yourself after meeting with someone and them explaining their health theory and you're scratching your head, let that be a warning sign to you. You do not need a PhD. It should not be confusing. it should be simple enough that you could explain it to your 5 or 6-year-old granddaughter, niece, son, sister, whatever it may be, all right? Now, the irony is that growing up, I did not represent simplicity in the way that I ate. Okay? That's a picture of me as a child. Here's another one. I'm the one in the orange shirt. The one next to me is my cousin. He's an internist. He trained at Mass General Hospital, one of my closest friends. We are going on a 1-week trip in August, just in a few weeks. He is 10 days younger than me. This is his sister, Josephine. She's 5 years younger. And that's my older brother, Jonathan. Hero, role model, mentor to me. And as you can tell, I was a big kid. I was the fattest kid in my grade growing up all the way through 5th grade, and then I started to lose weight. And it was a really hard time. I have strong memories of PE, the most dreaded class of all. I mean, there's nothing like thinking about the locker room the whole day of school, right? And so what I would do is I would wait till everyone had changed and left the locker room so that I could take my shirt off and change so that no one would point at me and start laughing. What kind of birthday party did I hate the most? Swimming. Yeah, swim parties, right? I always jump into the pool with my shirt on. People would always say, "What are you doing?" And I say, "Well, I'm cold." You know? Of course I wouldn't say, "Well, because I'm fat and I don't want you to see my rolls and laugh at me." Right? So I'd say, "I'm cold." This, of course, led to lots of insecurities and feeling like an outsider and left out. And this sort of thread continued. So I have a history of depression and anxiety. I don't often, this is actually one of the first times I'm sharing this on a major stage. But it's my effort to be more open and transparent and get rid of the stigma around it. Those were hard years. I've tried a lot of medications. Celexa, Abilify, Victal, Baxor, Xanax. No, with the depression and anxiety. And seeing lots of therapists. All of them maybe help a little bit. I don't know. What I'm most excited about is the fact that I'm now 5 weeks and I'm not on a single medication. And, this is the lesson of the natural hygiene movement is that, less is more, right? I'm off medications and I am happier, more energetic, well-balanced, and overall a better human being than I've ever been my whole life. Off medication. Yeah, right. And the lesson that I learned, I have a 6-year-old and a 10-year-old. They mean everything to me. I was talking with them at 1:30 a.m. last night, 10:30 p.m. their time. And Joshua is my 10-year-old son, and Julia is my 6-year-old daughter. I would never wish either of these upon either of them. I never would want either of them to feel like the outsider in their class. I would never, I hope, pray that neither of them ever struggles with depression and anxiety the way that I have. But there is one lesson that I have come away with from these 2 experiences that I am so grateful for, and that's humility. Because I know what it's like to feel broken. And out of that has come a compassion and an empathy for other people that I don't know that I would have had otherwise. For all I know, if I was in my current positions, and had never gone through this, I might think, it's all me. Yeah, baby, I'm the hot shit. I'm serious. I would think like, yeah, I'm the medical director of the McDougall program, and I'm a staff physician at True North. Woohoo! And that would be all me. The cult of Anthony Lim. I'd be preparing to write my book on the Dr. Lim diet. Lose weight, get healthy, feel better than you ever had before. It would be all about me, and it's not. It's not. I swear to you up on this stage, you will never see a book called The Dr. Lim Diet. So humility, and I mean, what do we do with this? Well, I just think that it's important to, we're all in a way the same boat. We're all screwed up and broken in our own unique way. So let's just get over it. Even though we have the market cornered on diet, let's not be arrogant about it. We know the truth. Every one of us in here, you've heard everything you need to know to lead a long, healthy life. From just the present, I've listened to every single one. You know everything you need to know, okay? Not everyone does. And let's have an attitude and a demeanor of compassion and empathy rather than one of holier than thou and, I know better than you, and sort of disdain that they are now following the, ketogenic diet or this or that. Instead, in a spirit of humility, ask them about it. So you're following that. What are you finding that it's doing for you? Have you, I'd love to learn more. Tell me about it. It's because of humility that I'm here before you right now in a way, because in 2014, I was very much following a paleo diet. Right? I still remember going to In-N-Out Burger and ordering I was really smug because they have what's called an off-menu item. It's not on the menu, and it's their animal-style burger. And it's basically a burger wrapped with lettuce. And it's a paleo because there's no carbs, there's no bread. And so I remember going to In-N-Out and getting a double patty protein style burger, basically 2 patties wrapped around with lettuce. And at the end of eating that, guess what? I was still hungry. So what do you think I did? I got a second one. So I ate 4 In-N-Out patties wrapped around with lettuce, and I left feeling like I had just eaten a healthy meal. Like that was sort of the ignorance that I was under back in 2014. And then one day on PBS, I saw this gentleman come across my screen, Dr. Joel Fuhrman. I had never seen him. I had never heard his name before. And he said 4 words I'd never heard before: whole food, plant-based. And he made these absolutely outrageous claims. Outrageous about the power of a whole food, plant-based diet to not just prevent, but actually reverse chronic illness. And because, even though I was paleo at that time, I had a spirit of humility and an open mind, and so I explored, and you cannot go very far or look very closely at the evidence before you reach the inescapable conclusion that a whole food, plant-based diet is the best and most health-promoting diet on earth. Yeah. So I sent an email to Dr. Fuhrman. I don't think he's here yet, but I told him I can't wait to thank him in person for changing my life. 1 year later, this is my mom. 1 year later, in that year, I had kind of proselytized in a tactful way, to everyone around me, and my entire family went plant-based. So the very day after showing my mom and dad forks over knives, they went vegan, 100%. Well, actually, no, that's not true, not 100%. They're kind of like pesco veganish, but still a huge change in the right direction, as did my brother's family. And my mother, knowing of my interest in whole food plant-based eating, I was at Kaiser at the time working as a pool physician, seeing patients part-time. So she knew of my interest, and she was on the McDougall newsletter, and I was not. And I very much knew who Dr. McDougall and Dr. Goldhammer were. I had heard both of them speak. I had a huge, deep amount of respect. And I literally had this sort of like, you know, you make your list of things you need to do in order to advance. I had on my list, visit the McDougall program, visit True North Health Center at some point, because I lived in Santa Rosa, and they're right around the corner. And so you can imagine my astonishment one day when I opened my email inbox, and there's an email from my mom, and it said, you know, job opportunity, joint position with the McDougall program at True North Health Center. Whoa. It's like, I thought I was seeing things. I mean, I had on my list, visit. And here was an opportunity to work as a joint position with two pioneers in this field. Well, at first I thought, there's no way. I mean, like literally 1 year ago, I was at In-N-Out eating a protein-style burger. There's absolutely no way. But as you get to know me better, I have a never say die mentality. And so I said, you know what, why not throw my hat into the ring? I met with Dr. Goldhammer the next week. We talked for a few hours, and at the end he said, well, the position is yours if you want it. Whoa. And I'll never forget, I said, are you serious? Like, I totally understand if you need time to interview this person, that person, and you're going to hear from Dr. Goldhammer pretty soon. You know his personality. He's like, nope, I know what I want, you got what I want, I'm done. I was like, okay, no objection for me. And so thanks, Mom, because you changed my life. And so the last 2 years, I have had the best job in the world, in my world, working as initially a staff physician and eventually the medical director of the McDougall program, and as a staff physician at True North Health Center. And as I look at these, oh, by the way, this is my dad. You can see his hat. He does not like this picture because I cut him off to focus on my mom. But yeah, so that's my dad's hat. But as I look at these four faces, not including mine, the word that comes to mind and the life lesson in this journey of mine is gratitude. I feel like in our modern day society, we have come away from this simple concept or precept of just showing gratitude and giving thanks to the people and the circumstances that have changed our life in a positive way. And so I want to, and there he is, there's the man, Dr. Goldhammer. So I encourage all of you to just cultivate in your own way some sort of daily practice of gratitude, whatever form it may take. You know, in my case, I'm Christian, and faith is at the center of my life. So my way of demonstrating gratitude is every morning in prayer, just thanking God for the blessings that He's given to me. I also keep a journal, and at the end of each day, I write three, no more than three, unless I'm just so overflowing with things. But I just say three things, just 1, 2, 3, three things that I'm grateful for. So that, because I guarantee you, I swear that no matter how bad a day you've had, there are three things that you could be fine to be grateful for. I mean, it could be as simple as your health, or your friendship with somebody, or a certain family member. It could be something as simple as that. But just that very practice of focusing your mind on the things that are going well and the things you're grateful for can actually change your brain chemistry. And there's tons of studies. We could do a whole lecture just on gratitude and its importance to your overall health. Now, one of the things I'm most grateful for in this journey, as we build off of gratitude, is the transformations that I've been able to witness in my patients on a daily basis. So I wanted to share with you just a couple. First, this is Robert Smith. This is a picture of him in 2014. And this is taken at a wedding. That's his wife. And in 2014, Robert weighed 298 pounds. His blood pressure was in the 150s over 90s. He was on 4 medications: Zetia, Norvasc, Pristique, albuterol. Zetia is a cholesterol-lowering medication. Norvasc is a powerful blood pressure-lowering medication. Pristique is an antidepressant. Albuterol is, as you know, for asthma or wheezing. And he was very sedentary. And what you need to know about Robert is that he had tried everything there was out there. He had tried Medifast, he had tried Weight Watchers, he had tried Atkins, and every time he would lose about 30, 40 pounds, only to put it back on, if not more. And when he saw these pictures in 2014, it was sort of like one of those moments where he had it. He said, I cannot do this anymore. He used the word disgust. He said, I was disgusted by what I saw. I could not believe I had allowed myself to become this way. And fortunately, right around this time, he had heard about a whole food plant-based diet and True North, and he came out to True North. And he fasted for, I think, about 2 weeks' time, and then from there transitioned to a whole food plant-based diet. So as you remember, in 2014, I was eating In-N-Out burgers, right? So I didn't see Robert then, but I did see him in 2016, 2 years later, when I was at True North. And what I saw just blows me away. Wow. That's Robert Smith. That was Robert Smith in 2016. And he was 173 pounds, blood pressure in the 110/70s. And the most notable of all, how many medications is he on?
None.
None! Zero. And he runs 5 miles per day. This picture I took of him in the morning, he has so much energy, he says. He just doesn't know what to do with it. And so what he does with it is he exercises and runs 5 miles every day. I was a little worried because I had seen him in 2016. And the words I used to describe myself is I'm an optimist, but I'm also a realist. So the optimist side of me had hoped that he had continued. The realist side of me thought perhaps he hadn't, perhaps he had backslid. And if he had, that's okay. But I would feel disingenuous if I was sharing a story with you all about some miraculous transformation if today he weighed 250 pounds and had backslid. So I called him up 4 to 6 weeks ago now. And I said, Robert, your story is inspiring lots of people, but I have to know, how are you doing today? And it's fine if you're not doing okay. I'm there for you. I just can't be sharing your story as if you have kind of overcome all these challenges of yours. I said, well, Doc, today I'm 168 pounds. My blood pressure is still in the 110/70s. I'm still not on any medications for cholesterol, blood pressure, asthma. Off his antidepressant medication. So my mood is great. He says, not easy. I struggle each and every day. And he used these words. He said, I am a food addict. And he knows that about himself. And so he is humble because he does not think he has it conquered. He has accountability steps in place and people he can turn to. I'm so proud of him, and I just love sharing. I've shared his story tons of times now. It never gets tired. And I have this cartoon. Sorry, it's kind of small, but you'll get the idea. It reminds me of this cartoon that I saw in September of 2014 at the second Plantrition Conference in San Diego, put up there by Dr. Dean Ornish, right? And it's of doctors mopping up the floor, basically mopping up the floor while the faucet is still going on full blast, right? And that's sort of the state of modern medicine with the Zetia and the Norvasc and Pristique albuterol. We were mopping up the floor, right? The faucet was still going on full blast the entire time. We did not turn that faucet off until he came to True North and did something as simple, right? Simple and non-interventional as a water fast followed by a whole food plant-based diet. And look at him today. Now, you already heard from John McMahon, right? I mean, that's a modern miracle right in your midst. And we have yet another, yeah. Who's John? There he is. John McMahon. Again, such a joy and just a privilege to witness his journey of transformation. We have another modern miracle in our midst, and I think Mark referred to her yesterday. We didn't even recognize her. But that's Susan. This is Susan Smith, and she gave me permission to share her story. And Susan clearly suffered from weight issues, but she also suffered from a very rare condition called Fuchs dystrophy. It's a problem with the cornea and its inability to sort of kind of get rid of excess fluid, so inflammation and edema develops. It's oftentimes thought to be genetic. She'd seen the top ophthalmologist in the world, and they basically told her that she needed surgery. So it was around this time that she had her moment, like Robert said, I'm gonna take things into my own hands. And so I first met Susan in June of 2017, just 1 year ago, just over 1 year ago, when she came out to the McDougall program. And that was the start of her journey. And so she came out to the McDougall program for 10 days, and then from there she went to True North, where she continues to be to this day, except coming out for this conference. She was basically blind. I spoke with her yesterday. She shouldn't have been driving the car, but she was. And when she was driving the car, I said, "Could you see?" She said, "No." But she could see like the vague outlines of the side of the road. So she would use that as her guide while driving very slowly. I'm glad I was not on the road. And today, her last visit to her ophthalmologist in August of 2017, she was told that her vision was 20/20. This is Susan today. Susan, can you come up here? I just want you all to meet Susan. So Susan saw her ophthalmologist, and again, world specialist ophthalmologist, right? Trained at the best places. And what were the words that he used when he saw your vision and the tests?
He said that I see no evidence. I see no evidence of this. I don't understand it. I don't see any evidence at all. But you still have it. And that was cataracts as well.
Wow. So she was in there for 4 hours. And all he could say again and again was, "I don't understand it. I don't understand." Nowhere did he say, "How?
That's right. Yeah.
How did you do this? This is a miracle. What did you do? I have to share this with all my other patients." All he could say is, "I don't understand it. You still have it. I don't understand it." We have a lot of work to do, folks. But you are witnessing with John McMahon, Susan Smith, many of you here, you are modern miracles.
Yeah.
So that's the word that comes to mind, miraculous. That's one of the lessons I've learned, that every day I am witnessing a miracle in some form, reversal of diabetes, someone who's had many heart attacks, a history of heart attacks, who's gone 10, 20 years now without any further incident, all by adopting very simple measures, such as a whole food plant-based diet, moderate exercise, getting some sunshine, making sure you get adequate rest, right? Connecting with other people, not complex, something you could explain to a 5-year-old. And with these simple measures, not easy. Who was it that said not easy? Someone said simple but not easy. I like that. Not easy, but simple. All right, you adopt these simple things, difficult as they may be, and you see modern miracles on your hand. Now, this brings me to sort of Mark told me, he said, as you talk about this, what are you doing now? Like, what's on your mind now? And I have to say that the piece on my mind now comes down to one question. How? How? We know the what. Okay, we know the what. Many people have their why. They want to live to see their grandkids and they want to climb Mount Kilimanjaro. But how? The behavioral change piece is incredibly difficult. And we could be here for days talking about behavioral change. But I wanted to at least touch upon it. So I think there's two keys that are indispensable to successful behavioral change that both Robert and Susan very much demonstrated in their own journey. And the first is this word, habits. There is a world of difference between knowing what to do and actually doing it. We could have this conference. This conference is unbelievably outstanding. I was, the word I used as I was listening to Dr. Esser yesterday, I used the word mesmerized. I was mesmerized. I mean, he's really good looking, tall, and I was mesmerized by that, but he's so eloquent too, and he's so knowledgeable, and so able to communicate. I was just mesmerized listening to him. We can have 100 Dr. Essers come up over, let's make this conference 20 days. 20 days of Dr. Esser in various manifestations, all of us mesmerized by hanging on his every word. Guess what, folks? It does not mean jack if you do not change your behavior. So, if I had a camera trained on you from the day before you came into this conference, and it showed you going about your usual things, eating your usual foods, not doing your usual exercise, not sleeping at your good time, and then you come here and you're inspired. You're going to do this. But then, one day later, you're still eating your usual foods, you're not sleeping at the right time, you're not getting sunlight, you're working till midnight. What did it matter? What did it mean? And I'm just seeing this over and over again. There is no lack of experts and information out there. And yet, look at us. We are more, I think the statistic was shared that 2/3 of the nation is overweight or obese. The latest has come out, it's gotten higher. We're 70%. We're no longer 6 and 2/3 people. We're 7 out of 10 people in the US that is overweight or obese. So for all the information that we have out there, how do we translate it into behavioral change? And that is what I'm fascinated by these days. Because I think that the information is there. I don't have a lot to add. I'm really just riding on the coattails of others there. But if I can help in the how, then I think that then we're on to something. And I think that habits is key, right? It's not what we do on a one-off occasion. I don't care, honestly, if the week after you leave here, you eat 100% whole food plant-based, no salt, oil, sugar, exercise 5 out of 7 days. I don't care about any of that if 3 weeks from now you've gone back to your old self. And we see that all too common. We've experienced it in our own lives, right? It's not a reason to self-loathe. It's not a reason to hate on ourselves. If anything, it's a reason to have compassion for ourselves and then just be like, okay, we're going to keep trying. So, clearly I don't have time to go into how we're going to change habits, but I did want to at least raise 5 factors that I think are key to successful habit change. How am I doing? Okay. So, number 1 is importance. Is the change? These are the kind of the questions. When I look at someone and they want to change behavior, this is what's running through my mind. Is it important to you? Because I may think it's important for you to quit smoking, but do you care? Because if you don't care, then this is not what I want to focus my energy upon. I don't know who it was that told me, but I love this piece of advice that they gave me as a physician. You cannot care more about some aspect of your patient's life than they care about it themselves. And I've really taken that to heart because we want to save the world, we want to help every person, but if they do not want to help themselves in that area, then, all right, maybe, you just leave your card, you say, I hope one day that's an area, and when you do, I'm here for you. Or you help move them from this thing of what's called pre-contemplation, where they don't even think it's an issue. You help move them from that stage to a stage called contemplation, where they're actually thinking it is important. But you don't actively engage in, let's change this behavior, because it's not really important. It has to be important. When in medical school, we're taught that a patient's readiness for change is the intersection of two dimensions. One is importance, So is it important? And the other is confidence. Are they confident that they can do it? And the sweet spot is up here. It's both important and confident. Because for a lot of people, something may be very important, but when you tell them, okay, so clearly losing weight is important to you, so here's what I want you to do. I want you to go on a 40-day water fast, followed by a 100% strictly whole food plant-based, no salt, oil, sugar free diet with 30 to 45 minutes of high-intensity interval training, 5 to 7 days a week, and meditation for 30 minutes per day, followed by connecting with all those important to you going out. A true recipe for weight loss? Yeah, I mean, in content, yes, but what's their confidence level going to be? They're going to like, and then you lost them. So you have to find a change that they are confident that you know is getting them further along. You don't have to do it all in one day. I would much, much rather that everyone leave here doing 5 minutes of movement every day for a month or a year, 5 minutes, than 1 hour, 7 days a week for the next 2 weeks, followed by couch potato. Okay? Even though 5 minutes is such a small change, I get everybody, 5 minutes. That's a joke. Okay, well, show it to me. Because right now you're sitting on your butt on the couch, so 5 minutes is a big step in the right direction. So let's start there. If you do 5 minutes every day for 1 month, we'll move on up. We'll go up to 10 minutes. Okay, but let's build on that. So you gotta have, it's gotta be important, you gotta have a high level of confidence. The power of your environment is huge, right? I had a patient that said that every time she went to work, she passed by the donut store. And it was like a ding, 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 you know, pass by the donut store, exactly, pull into the parking lot. Even though she did not leave her house planning on getting a donut. She did not say, I'm going to stop by the donut store to get my donut on my way to work. She said, when she just passed by it, it just was like, she just couldn't help herself. It was a cue in her environment. Look at the power of environment. So what simple change did she make to get over the eat my donut before going to work phenomenon?
Drive a different direction.
She changed her route. She changed her route. And it was hard for her to justify this change at first, because it's like, but it takes 2 minutes longer. I said, you know what, it is so worth it. Use those extra 2 minutes to, I don't know, listen to NPR or something informative, and meanwhile, you have just taken out that environmental cue to self-sabotage yourself by eating a donut first thing in the morning. So the power of our environment is huge, and it's not just our physical environment, it's our social environment. So, you know, it comes down to two simple things when you think about physical and social environment. Minimize the things that are making bad behaviors easier. Minimize the things that make bad behaviors easier, right? So if it's television or if it's, you know, the classic, before you come to this program, clear out your cupboards of everything, just so it's not even in the house. And then on the flip side, put in things that make the good behavior easier. Simple as that. And you can just apply those two concepts to everything in your social environment and physical environment. If you have a toxic friend, minimize the amount of time that you spend with that toxic friend, or find a way to spend time with them in some other way that does not involve eating, like going on a hike. John, I really value your friendship. We've been friends. We go back so long. I want to continue to spend time with you. I just do not want to spend it with you in the bar eating chicken wings and watching games. Instead, I want to start, you know, let's hang out by going on hikes or something like that. So you're showing them that you value the friendship. You're not just saying, look, you don't eat a whole food plant-based diet, I can't hang out with you. Good luck, bon voyage, see you. Saying, no, I care about you. This friendship means a lot to me, but I'm trying to get healthy myself, so please, can we continue to spend time with each other, but just in a different way? That's authentic, that's true. The second is resilience. I've come to appreciate that you can never fail at anything until the day that you give up. So no matter how many times you fall flat on your ass, as long as you get back up and try again, there is hope. And that really comes down to this notion of resilience. A never say die attitude. And Susan and Robert both demonstrated this. They both had their dips and their challenges and their times when they kind of just wanted to throw up their hands. But each of them found resilience to just stick it through and not give up. And each of us finds our resilience from different sources and different ways. I asked Robert, where does his resilience come from? For him, the social accountability piece was huge. If we look at AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, which, by the way, going back to habits and confidence, what is AA's motto? One day at a time. Imagine how many people would step in the door if their motto was one lifetime at a time. Right? You'd be like, no way, I can't give up alcohol for my entire life. But one day, I think I can do that. I'm confident I can do that. And then sure, one day turns into 1 week turns into 1 month turns into 1 year turns into 10 years. Before you know it, they got this long track record, but it all started off with one day. So start small, baby steps. But AA, one of the keys to their success is the sponsor. Someone who you can go to when you are in a rough spot. And so Robert's resilience, he has multiple people in place that when he hits a tough time, he's on the phone with them. He has fallen flat on his butt many a time. Right? He said, he told me on the phone, this has not been a smooth journey. I'd be lying if I said, I get it, I do it, and yeah, I don't even look back. No, I have my lapses. But when he has his lapses, he goes to his sort of accountability partners. Susan, I asked Susan yesterday. I went to her room and just chatted with her. I said, Susan, where do you get your resilience from? And she said, for her, it's my faith. Okay? She is in prayer and the Bible every morning, and that is where she gets her resilience. So wherever it is, that's what you want to tap into. Tap into that thing that's going to give you the strength that when things get tough, you are able to withstand and stay strong. Or when you fall flat, you get back up. Vince Lombardi, right, the multiple Super Bowl champion, all-time great coach with the Green Bay Packers, he says, not whether you fall down, because you will fall down. It's whether you get back up. So I wanted to end with one last lesson. Let's say you have your good habits, you have your resilience. Let's say you bought yourself overall good health. What are you going to do with that health? What are you going to do with the rest of your life? And one word, you could go on and on, but one word comes to mind. Passion. Live your life with passion. Live your life with meaning. And I wanted to celebrate, excuse me if I get emotional, I want to celebrate a gentleman who to me exemplifies passion in his everyday life. Could you raise your hand if you ever knew or met Dr. Alex Isabeau? So Dr. Isabeau was Dr. Goldhammer's first intern at True North back in the 80s. He is an incredibly gifted chiropractor and sports specialist. He recently passed away last week from a long fight with terminal lung cancer. And Dr. Isabeau was not someone who smoked. He led as model-like a natural hygiene life as one could possibly imagine. He rock climbed, he ran, basically a 100% whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free diet. He was a gentleman, a scholar, passionate, a gifted healer. He is the epitome. He should be the poster child of the natural hygiene movement. But bad things happen to good people leading healthy lives. One of the reasons I just want to live each day with as much passion and joy, because I don't know what's going to happen, right? I've had two close friends. Dr. Esser talked about his father passing away from glioblastoma multiforme. One of my close friends last year, 40-something years old, two kids just like myself, he succumbed from glioblastoma multiforme. Another of my friends, Kim Kramer, died from a rare tumor, salivary tumor that just grew and grew and grew. Two young kids, both my age. So life's funny that way, isn't it? And we just have to celebrate and enjoy the simple things, the small things. I wrote a little small something about Dr. Isabeau that I just wanted to share with you. We had a little memorial service just at True North for him this week. Alec Isabeau, gentleman, scholar, beneficent soul, kind, compassionate, consummate doctor, athlete, warrior, fighter, man of integrity, unparalleled diagnostician, thorough, dedicated, stud, rare model, healer, generosity of spirit. These are just some of the words that come to mind when I think of the great Alec Isabeau. I saw him a number of times over the last couple of years for various musculoskeletal ailments, and every time I left his office, I felt like I had been worked on by magical healing hands. I feel incredibly blessed and fortunate to have had the opportunity to know Alec, and my life is immeasurably better and richer for having known him. His example and the way he led his life with passion, integrity, and dedication will stay with me. Even on his last day of life here on earth, he taught us all what it means to die a peaceful death. He passed away at home, surrounded by his wife and family, in contrast to the 80% of Americans that die in a hospital or nursing home. I do not pretend for one moment to understand why someone who lived as healthy a life as he did departed this world so prematurely. It sucks. It seems so unfair. I don't get it. But rather than rail against these things that I will never be able to understand, I choose instead this day to celebrate the incredible individual that he is and to give deep thanks and gratitude to God for the ways he has touched my life and all those he came into contact with. Alec, wherever you are, I love you as a brother. Thank you for being such a positive presence in my life. May God's peace be with you now and forever. So, just remember Dr. Isabeau, live each day with the passion, enthusiasm, kindness of spirit that he demonstrated in his life and to all those around him. These are the lessons I've learned in my continual journey, and I continue to learn more. Lifelong learning, simplicity, humility. I like what someone said, check your ego at the door. Right? I've told people, and I ask all of you as my accountability people, if I ever say anything that comes across as arrogant, or comes across as better than thou, or comes across as judgmental, I beg of you to let me know, because it's the last thing I would ever want to convey or communicate to anyone around me. Gratitude, be grateful for the small things. Figure out how you're going to cultivate gratitude on a daily basis. Miraculous. This is a miracle-promoting way of life, miracle-promoting diet, and it's very simple. The power of habits, resilience, never give up, never say die, and live each day like the great Dr. Alec Isabeau. Thank you so much.